And here we are back live front and center here with the Women's International Music Network. I am your host, Myki Angeline, and this is our new weekly live podcast video series where we interview incredible women in the industry. Today is such a special day because not only am I interviewing phenomenally talented across the board, empowering human being, Malina Moye. She's also a good friend, not just of mine, but of the Women's International Music Network. So welcome.
Thank you. Are you kidding
Malina.
me? Myki, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
I wish I could hug you. Do you know? Don't we? I know. We were like, because like, okay, we'll get into the interview. I promise everybody. We're catching up because we hadn't seen each other in forever and a day. But you know, our NAMM every year was our family reunion, and we're gonna be without it this coming January.
Like, this is crazy to me. I'm still trying to process that, right? Because I'm like, man, we see each other. We all like pictures, catching up.
Yes. You know, you're signing autographs places because you're endorsed by a million things. You know, it's like, you know, when we can catch you, you're usually either performing and or attending our She Rocks Awards because you've been there ever since the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I remember the very first She Rocks when we actually had it. It was breakfast, and it was in the Anaheim Center, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was so cool.
You remember?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I go back to 1.
You know, I've said this before. I said this before because that's how I ended up working with the Women's International Music Network and with Laura, because when I went to NAMM, it was only my second year, I believe, when I attended.
Wow, okay.
And I saw that in the program. Right. And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to go to this. I just had this feeling this is going to be huge. And you're right. It was a little breakfast. There was maybe 100 people. We had the round tables. We all were like, we were handing off. Yes. And then the second year was when you performed.
That's right. And I was a surprise winner.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just remember you came from the back and the lights went down. And you were in this sequined amazing suit and you were rocking your guitar all left-handed. I was like, who is this amazing goddess coming through the door?
I love it. Thank you. That was exactly that year. It's the second year. And I remember I was so shocked because after I did the performance, Laura was like, we have another winner. It's going to be a surprise. They don't know they're winning. And I was just putting all my stuff on, okay, let's get this going. And then all of a sudden, I remember J.E. Hendricks said, oh, I know it's going to be Malina. And then all of a sudden, she said, I want to give this to Malina Moye. And I remember going, I was so shocked. Inspire Award. Are you kidding me? I love that award. It was just so.
And you were grassroots beginning too, because look at where it is now.
Man.
This is our 9th year.
Unbelievable. And like now, it's just like, oh my God, it's so huge. And I just, to me, it's like so incredible to see something when it starts from the beginning and then to where it is now, and the growth and the people and the individuals and the level and the accolades and the women that we are honoring, the people who are involved. It has become like the to-do. It's like the Grammys now.
Look at you already given the spiel. This is a fact. But not just that, you know, and we were, because we just did our press conference yesterday with a handful of the women we're going to honor that's coming up, because this is our first time doing it viral because NAMM has going virtual. So, and we didn't want to not skip on this because it's such an important event. And as we're doing this, it was a Zoom press conference. And even, I want to say it was Cherie Curry, because we're now honoring her. Whereas,
I saw that.
Yeah, she came this last January to present the award to Suzi Quatro. And I'm walking around, that's when I met her, because she's close with Bree Howard Darling, which Bree Howard Darling and I became really close friends because Bree's from here up in Sacramento and Filipino. So we're like, what? We're best friends. And Cherie mentioned how the feeling you get, and same with Lizzie Hale, how the feeling you get being in a room surrounded by other women in the industry and this community feeling and this support and this empowerment right in the room. It's just a buzz.
Yeah.
It's so
incredible,
so it's going to be sad in the sense that we won't physically be together, but at least we're still doing it,
right?
You know, and so I was like, oh, at least because it's our 9th year, so crossing fingers by the 10th year it's in person, because that's a big.
I am like praying because I mean, to me, I'm like, come on, this yes, I am so 100% hoping that we can definitely all see each other. Because I remember when they started using the term the new normal, and I was like, oh my God, I just will never use that term because I don't want this to be the new normal.
Neither do I.
You know, no.
And flowing right into that, we can, because it's been 8 months for our country, right? And you as an artist, the music industry was one of the few industries that were hit so hard and are the last to be implemented back 100%. Now,
Girl,
what have you done? I mean, because
I love
describe
it.
to us how you felt when it first happened. Like you probably weren't even thinking it was as serious, and then how it
Yeah.
impacted your career.
Well, you know, honestly, I really didn't think it was this serious because I remember going, oh, you know what, in a couple of days, I'm sure this will blow over because we already had tour dates. We didn't even announce them just yet. So we had all this stuff that was, you know, like, I mean, and something really big. I mean, like what I've waited for forever. And finally to make that short list, I was like, this is about to be the year. Oh my God. So then I thought, okay, maybe it'll get better after 2 weeks. I was like, and then finally when my agent called and I thought, okay, this is serious because he's like wanting to check in. He's like, no, I just want to make sure that you're okay. And the thing is, we're hearing that, you know, there may be no touring at all, like at all this year. And I said, not even in the fall, because I'm seeing Coachella and everyone is always, they're rescheduling everything for the fall and everyone's looking at that. And he's like, no, I and then he's saying, honestly, he said, I want to say like October of 2021, but to be honest, he said, I feel safer like 2022, like
Wow.
a March. He said that to me is realistic. And I'm like, so no, yeah. So for me, it's like, you know, our whole goal was to finish up the tour and then start the new album. But with everything that's taken place, I've gone ahead and we've been recording. So I've got a lot of pre-production as well as going into the studio, as well as now I'm also venturing into acting. So, and that was something else. It was
Shut the
another
front
film
door.
that I literally like. What's crazy is the director's like, yes, you know, I have been watching a lot of your stuff and we're doing this film and it would basically be like my first lead in a very good picture. And yeah, and we were so ready to go. And trust me, it was thank you. And it was the thing where he said, yeah, so here's the problem because it shoots in New York. Everything is gonna close down. And I'm like, what? And then that's when I was like, okay, maybe again. So now all that particular film's getting rescheduled. But the other film, what happened was, you know, Gavin Newsom obviously said apparently filming is back. So for right now, so in California, I should say. So that's taking place. So at least there's a couple things there. And then in the interim, aside of recording my new record and also social distancing in the studios and also not having so many people in the room when you're, you know, so there's so many different things. And then we're also next week shooting a video. And again, the same thing where even to do a live video, only so many people allowed. So there's all these little things. Yeah, that's completely different now. And then, and just again, a lot of good things. And then also the Malina Moye story. So we're in development for a TV series for the Malina Moye story. So I'm trying, so all this good stuff, even though, you know, we've had just the craziest 2020, but let me say this, we needed the reset on so many levels.
Oh, that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. And then, you know, I was born in Ohio, but I grew up in Minnesota. So I knew that when I saw how with everything that happened with George Floyd, I was like, oh, 100% the next day. Yeah. So to me, it's amazing how that uncovered so much that I think that we as a country really needed to witness and to see. And for me, that is just so hard because just as a Black woman, I just remember thinking, man, I have no idea what that feels like to literally see someone put their knee on someone's neck. Because I'm the kind of person that if something isn't right, I am going to say, I'm going to step up and say, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. And then they would have arrested me. And that's, you know what I mean? So when I look at that, I go, man, I can't even imagine the people who's sitting around and seeing that I mean, that just plays in my mind over and over and over. My cousins were literally, they live down the street from where everything. Yeah. So they were
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad.
You know, and for you mentioned that because being a female, being Black and being left-handed, you had a lot of, you know, obstacles to kind of overcome in this industry. Yes. And then to see that, it was almost, I hate to even go there. It was kind of the reminder of things that still are kind of around, right?
Can I tell you something? The reason I wrote my album, The Bad As I Want to Be record, was thank you. I said, I want to write this as a personal letter to whoever will listen. And this song to me, Enough, when I wrote the song, I wrote that record because of something that took place. And I promised I would never say this particular incident, but it was for the first time it came to my mind that no matter how much you practice, how many notes you play, how much you do anything, people are going to still have certain issues that are so embedded in them that it has nothing to do with you per se, as opposed to your color.
Correct.
And then I realized, wow, I'm never going to be, I'm not the blonde person. I'm Black. I have, I know who I am. So I started to realize, wow, these people are really not understanding what's going on here. And the problem is, I don't know if they realize that they are the actual problem.
Right.
And they're seeing this from a different perspective, and they're not getting the full perspective. So I just started writing, and I wrote that in the hashtag I am enough as a personal reminder to myself that I am somebody. And I didn't want anyone to make me feel like I didn't matter and I didn't count.
There it is.
So that was it. So that was why I did it. And then
Check back your power.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I never because if you knew like the whole thing, which I said I would never say, when this took place, and it's like the universe has this way of humbling other people, where they understand that it's priceless, everything that I said. And I wrote those words because I thought maybe that person would hear my words and maybe they would start to think and see things differently. And a friend of mine said, man, you got the last laugh. I mean, Malina, you started this thing, the campaign, the movement of I Am Enough. And then, but
please go into that too, because talk more about that.
The reason I did it was because, again, I just felt like I can't change who I am. And I like myself, and I like the way I look, and I like everything about myself. And I thought, I am going to celebrate everything that is Malina Moye right now, not about who I'm trying to be or who you think I should be, but who I am, because I deserve that. If no one else thinks I do, I do. And so I had asked everybody to put a picture up of themselves and to hashtag it, hashtag I Am Enough. And then all of a sudden we were like, man, we're going to tie in the t-shirts and get the shirts. And then we tied it in with the foundation, Drive Hope. And all the proceeds from the shirts went to the foundation. But never in my wildest dreams did I imagine. I thought that I was just going to put it up and a few people would do it. I had no idea that it would become like a global hashtag, and people were saying how they
got big.
Yeah, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I mean, like, when you hear the story, and I would start to go to speak with different people, and then would just hear their story. And then a friend of mine said something that it was so amazing, because I thought, man, we want to put this song up to be considered for the Grammy. And I never forget, we never got the nomination. I felt so bad about that. And I remember a friend of mine said, Malina, no one can ever tell you who else was nominated for a Grammy. But one thing people will always tell you is how something made them feel. And he said, that is something that's more important than you trying to get this. And I thought, you know what? Because now people like just to hear other people's story and how they felt seen. And it just always makes me go back to the one thing my mom said. She said, Malina, when you don't see yourself represented, show up. When you think you can't, show up.
There it is.
And always know you matter and you count. And I felt like my crown had fell off, and I felt like I was letting people down. And then I thought, no, you know what? That's a part of being human. I'm going to pick myself up, and I'm somebody, and that's it. And I put the picture up in the post, and suddenly I had no idea that Yolanda Adams even knew who I was. She put up this amazing post, and she was talking about, oh my God, Anita Baker. I mean, I was like, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know all that.
Yeah. And then Billboard did this big article about, like, I'd never in my wildest dreams. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when
what that shows? You never know who's truly paying attention until you do something that registers enough for a response. And
then we got my first billboard in Times Square. This is the first video I've ever had played on MTV, and people MTV has a whole other platform that they have on Pluto TV and all of the MTV channels.
Yep.
So
I got Pluto. I know what you're talking about.
So I never, like, we finally got in that. I've never had that in my life. So BET, MTV, my first billboard in Times Square, all this from that song.
Wow.
Is that crazy? And
you know what? And it was needed. you filled a
Amen.
void. You filled a void that was needed, and it's always needed. And kudos to women like yourself, because I'm mentioning it again, being female, being Black, being left-handed in this industry. I mean, in the world and in our country in general, but just even in the music industry, because every time we talk to someone in the industry, and it's 2020 going into 2021, women are still having to jump so many hurdles. In every aspect of it. So it's so good that a woman like you is out there on so many platforms, so that others can see that and feel I'm not alone.
Amen.
And there's my goal, and here's my inspiration.
Amen.
And her name is Malina Moye.
I appreciate that, because what's so funny is I always say this, and I know it goes very quickly here. I say, as a Black woman, here's the thing. Some people can just, like, if you see a stop sign, many people can just go to the stop sign. But for people like myself, like you said, where everything 100% is against me, it's like I have to not only get to the stop sign, I got to stop, get the car, put gas in the car, pick up this person, get this, and then make it there. And at the same time, everybody expects you to get to the stop sign and be fabulous, be epic, amazing, when most other people, they have the opportunity to just get there. It's amazing now in 2020 for the change that we both just witnessed in history. So for me, this is unbelievable, because there was something that Kamala said that was so important when she said, I may be the first, but I'm going to make sure I'm not the last.
Yes, not the last.
Yeah, because real change is what I see many. And at every interview I said, hey, I was the first to do so many of these different things, and it's amazing. And trust me, the first one's always the bloodiest. But then I said, but real change is when I look and I go, oh, there you go. I see that. Now I know we're doing something now. That's how you really change stuff.
And feel free. I would love to know, describe how you felt the moment you found out.
Can I tell you something? I don't think it's even sunk in my mind, because I think that, like, all of us, I was like, okay, this is 3 days in and we still don't know who the president is. Like, I thought, so I was like, this is crazy right now. I mean, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how you travel around the world, people like always make fun of us. Like, just our country. I'm like, everything.
I know. Okay, so that people that are watching and listening, yes, Malina travels the world when she's touring. So she's speaking from literal experience of how other countries see us.
It's a joke. It's like, a joke. When President Obama was in peak, they were like, man, this is just epic. And then when Donald Trump came, I mean, they were like, wow. I mean, again, I never like to say bad things about people, because, you're not supposed to do that. But no, people, it's a joke. And it's sad, because
and it's not even bad. You're just relaying what you've experienced, So, because I know for me, it's sunk in for me, because I promise you, I'm tired from watching. I was just relentlessly up until, and then after. I was like David Muir. I was like sleepy face. And when it did hit, and I'll tell you what, the other thing that helped me to really appreciate it, because I am not Black. I am a woman of color. I am queer, but I'm not Black. And to see other people's posts, to see the news spread and the response, I cried, because so many places literally went out in the street dancing. And then I had these reminders throw up in my Facebook. I love how I use the word throw up. And because it was this time 4 years ago when Trump was Hillary conceded the next day. And what happened was, in my town, I'm here in Sacramento, California, I immediately got word from friends where children in schools that were Hispanic and Muslim, the teachers and the students were mocking them, saying them they were going to be deported. My LGBT community, a lot of them were being verbally and physically assaulted out because it was like he gave them the green light to be who they've always been. So knowing that and how it progressed, these same people in these same communities felt they can breathe again. So when you hear someone say, I felt like I could breathe again, that's why. And it also shows how different people didn't have to experience that. And I can tell when I see other people's posts. So for me, I cried. And I was relieved, and my shoulders, I could.
Amen. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Yeah. And I think that once everybody gets sworn in, I think that's when we're all really going to go, now this is because in my mind, I keep thinking, is his lawsuit?
I know.
Maybe he's right. So that's why I'm like, right. I'm still one of these, like, oh my, because you just never know. But but back to what you said, because, and I'll tell you what, but I will say that not a one good thing that Donald Trump absolutely showed me that I didn't know. I had no idea that our country was that divided. I had no, he gave people permission to be exactly. So now I'm going, holy shit, I had no, oh my God. And then what was crazy is when the post was going around for, remember the post in June where they asked everybody to put up a post for Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
And then let me tell you, some of people that we know, it was very interesting for me because I thought that broke my heart. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd like to talk about it because
you could share your feelings. Absolutely, your feelings are very valid with how this affected you as a Black woman in America. Please
that was horrible because there's some people that we both know, that we all know, where I was like, hey, you guys, they're asking all of us to put these posts up, and I'm asking you to put the post up so that your fans that you have can also understand that we matter, like that you're with us too. And then you'll be amazed that some of them absolutely did not want to do that because I get it. They don't want to alienate their fan base because some very big guitar players, they lost thousands of fans because of that. And I started to go, oh my God, I had no idea it was. And then it made me go, no wonder I'm not crazy. So I was feeling this shit, and I know that, but because they expect me to go, well, Malina, we're seeing you a little different. I'm like, no, you're not. Because this isn't right.
You're like, I'm seeing you a little different now. I've always been this way. What were you not looking at? What were you like? What were you blinding from that you didn't see this in me? Because this has always been me. Right.
And they're like, that's the part I think that is like the worst. Because once you start, and I think that's the true definition of woke. So once you actually see what happens, you can't go back.
And I've learned, I mean, I'm very transparent and vocal about it's taken me 2 years to recognize that and the term white privilege is real, that I've lived and benefited from it. Even as a queer woman of color, I'm half Filipino and half white, but the Filipino is a very accepted race compared to Black, Hispanic, right? Muslim belief. So I escaped a lot of that and wasn't aware. And it took me these last 2 years of learning and humbling myself and opening my mind and my perspective and going back in my past and going, I didn't realize that's what that was, and admitting it. And then, just learning as I go and being to me, the best ally I can. Whether I'm speaking on a platform, if I'm physically out there saying something, if I'm voting on something, if I'm, I did the calls, text, votes, donate, like once the George Floyd thing happened, because there were moments that happened before him, but his is just so significant because of how it went down. And there was no denying that what happened to him has been happening and has still happened. And that was the wake up call, right? And then now all of a sudden it's like, well, there were levels. There were people who either were cheering for it. I don't mean to be gruesome, but then there were people who they didn't agree with it. But like you said, they didn't have their own personal strength to stand up to it. And so they'd rather just be quiet. And that's what you discovered.
I said, that's the problem now, because you're going to have to stand up and say something, because this is a major problem. This is a problem. And if you are my friend and you don't want to see something like that happen to me, then I'm asking you, please.
Right.
And then I saw they put up something, but then they didn't want to really put up the right. And I said, okay. And it's a start. But you know what I mean? I said, okay. Yeah. But it was funny because when I tell you that, all of a sudden I realized, holy shit. I like the texts that were coming in where people were like, yeah, this guy just lost like 10,000 followers. Now they're saying things like, I won't even go into
wow.
Huge.
I feel like we're just spilling all the tea right now. Go for it.
Oh my God.
You don't have to do names. Please don't do names. You're just sharing your experience.
Yeah. But it was bad. And to the point of me going, holy. So that's the one thing that I learned is that, wow, so I'm not crazy. This is taking place. And now I know who I'm actually dealing with. I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to know, but now I do.
But now we know. You and me both. I will say that too. I now know. And two things happened for me. I've had to dump people that I didn't realize I worked with and connected with so many years in the industry because it was never a topic of discussion. So when it's not a topic of discussion, you don't know. And when this reared and I would see certain posts and I would see these passive aggressive posts, and I was like, we're done. Number one. Number two, I'm still learning what it is for me to be an ally because, and anyone listening, it definitely is not your responsibility, Malina. Anyone who is Black, it is not your responsibility to explain to us why we need to be better about it because we're the problem. We need to do the research. And we don't do this for brownie points. I'm not doing this so that Malina goes, good for you, Myki, because that's not why because then I make it about me. I'm willing to.
But you're just a good person. You're a good soul, period.
Thank you. But it's still a learning process because I promise you, I've stumbled and I've hurt people and people have lashed and I understand and I don't blame them because as an empath, when it finally hit me, I would cry for days and weeks when I could really soak in what Black people, the Black community have dealt with since the inception of this country. So even though in my white ancestry, I'm not responsible for what they did, I'm definitely responsible for not making sure it doesn't continue with my generation, with my daughter's generation. That is my responsibility. And I take it full, right? So, and I'm just saying that. So, because you and I, we've never discussed this till now, right? And it's good to know that, I'm sure you're like, thank God Myki's on this side. Because I'm sure if I wasn't,
you're a good soul. But that's the other thing is you know the people who are like you. You know what I mean?
You do now. If you didn't before, you do now.
Yeah, but there's certain people you just like you can tell, but then but when the actual numbers that I saw started to show up, that's the part where I was
did that affect you in your career, your follows, your fan base?
Honest, what really affected me, which is crazy, is the fact that I actually this is where I was like, I'm confused right now because people, the other kicker is when I had put the post up about George Floyd and I had put the Enough video up, it was amazing where I started to get a lot of my my friends who were white who came over and said, hey, Malina, suddenly questions and things conversations, which I think are very important, started to happen. And I will say that suddenly that is when that song Enough started to make a resurgence. That's where I thought, that's how it all started. That's what made that. Yeah,
I'm seeing that.
That's how it started. That's when everything started to happen for me. That's why I kept saying timing was unbelievable, or timing is unbelievable. But when I put up the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris picture united, the one I took from you.
I love it that you took it from me. You know I'm fangirling right now that you took it from me, but go ahead.
I took it from you. That's when I looked and I thought, oh my God, I have no idea that. I mean, like the comments and just everything. And I thought, oh my God. And then on Facebook, I was like, oh my. And I remember saying, and so every time I saw something crazy or, in my mind, I'm like this, everyone deserves to have their voice heard. And this is why we have to stand together, united. And I love you. And I put still love you. And every one of them. And they were like, and I said, but I still love you. And they were like, I think that, and then maybe we should do this. And what are you talking about? There are just people who have no morals. And I said, but I want you to know, because to me, this is deeper than just the who's running our country. This is actually what's so funny is my fiance's white. And he always said, well, the polite way of saying something aside of saying systemic racism, because sometimes I just call it straight out. This is systemic racism. This is really way deep.
Marginalization.
And he said, well, the unbiased unconsciousness of America.
Oh.
I said, well, that's interesting to say. He said, because sometimes, Malina, you will just come straight out and say, well, look, this isn't right and he says, sometimes that's like making a person go defensive. But when you say, well, I think that what's happening here is the unconscious, the unbiased unconsciousness of America, that's happening. And I said, oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to get controversial here and I'm going to say, yes, that phrase is great for other white educated people, but I'm not going to, but check it out. I am not going to take your pain from you. And I'm not going to dismiss and correct your need to express how this makes you feel, because I have not known what it's like to have generations for 400 years be held down and beaten and killed and not held accountable. I don't know what that feels like.
Thank you.
So there's no right or wrong. That phrase will work for educated white folk.
And that right, and
because
and
what was great about this, what was great, I know what was great about this election, like you said, not so much the focus on who won, but how they got there, right? Because one of the big things they discussed, and I know we're going off such a tangent, but this feels so good. Stacey Abrams, when she lost in her election and she turned that into, I'm going to focus on all the reasons why I lost, and I'm going to empower these people so that when the big one comes, they don't miss the boat. And her and her team, and I don't remember the other women's names, and I apologize for not, because Stacey Abrams has been the name thrown around, but they're the reason Georgia flipped it.
That's unbelievable.
It's black folks and it's black women.
Let me tell you something. I love that because I was watching TV and one lady said this. She said, I want you to understand. She had the numbers. And again, forgive me, I don't have the numbers. She said, white women voted for Donald Trump and they were up something like 16% more.
It was like 2% more.
This year, she said, but please make no mistake. The reason why you're looking at your new presidential candidates is, she said, black votes stepped up and black women. You need to thank these women. They came in and they are now allowing this to take place. That is why you have what you have right now. And I just remember going, now
there were three factors: black women, the 18 to 29-year-olds, because they were pre-registered to vote before they were 18. So they were about 40% of the people voting, no joke. And places like New Mexico, 97% of those that voted were indigenous.
I love it.
So this is why this is such a powerful election. Not so much who won, which I'm still thrilled that Kamala, first black Asian woman, Middle Eastern descent, who's going to be in the highest power of our country. Like, that's amazing.
Now it's probably like,
but all the people that knew their voice, that they couldn't think. Let's think about this, right? I know we just turned this so political, but it's more like empowerment and it's more like community. Despite the fact that post office hours were cut, postal workers were fired, mailboxes were removed,
we're in a COVID, we're in a pandemic.
Fake voting boxes were put in, legit voting boxes were set on fire. We're on COVID. Despite all of that, the biggest turnout and vote in our nation's history. That's why people were dancing. Does that make sense?
190%, because you couldn't stop it.
You couldn't stop it, and they tried.
And he's still
and what I'm listing is facts. These are just all facts. This isn't opinion. These all things actually happened, but it didn't matter. It's like I'm behind the scenes. I'm the one telling people, hey, here's a legitimate box and here's a safe place to post it. Because I'm telling you, when I told you about what popped up in my feed 4 years ago, the other thing that we did was we wore a safety pin. When Trump first won, we all wore a safety pin so that others that were of color and others that were queer knew we were a safe person to approach. Yeah. So this time around, right? So I'm telling people, hey, I know of these safe ballot boxes. Like one of them I mentioned was Solomon's Delicatessen, which is an awesome eatery in the downtown area of Sacramento that is BIPOC and LGBTQ friendly. And the box was inside the restaurant. So you could go there be safe, drop off your ballot, and it wasn't going to get set up. Like, these were important things to share. And we were doing this across the board. So that's what made this time in our lives so empowering, because we're not alone. So when 2021 comes out and you've got your projects hitting, because my God, I love following you, by the way, because you're always doing the greatest things. And if I catch myself being a bitter Betty, because I can get there, I will look at you and go, but see, what would Malina do? And then I'm like, okay, Malina wouldn't do that. So I'm only gonna vent. Sometimes I do it on my Insta or my Facebook, but I'm only gonna vent to a person and get it out. I don't want that to frame who I am.
That's right. And what I'm excited about for 2021 is character, morals, ethics are like, that's everything to me. That's so important. And I want to say that even with the election, just seeing how for me, I should say, Mr. Biden, because some people are like, well, that was the whole thing when they're like, how could you say these people have morals and character and ethics? Because it showed, like, in America, that's what we're about. We're good people. Like that's what we're supposed to be. Like everybody, like land of the free.
We want to be.
Yeah.
I would rather say we want to be, but we're not.
Not yet, but I hope that
we're getting there. We're getting there.
A beautiful start, but let's keep pushing it.
Yeah,
let's have these kind of conversations.
Yes, the conversations are key, and then the motivating, empowering things like what you're doing with your music and your career. You're living the example, and you're literally being you. You're not pushing an agenda. You're you.
Ditto. Somebody said, "Well, how do you change it?" I said, "Oh, that's simple. Just continue to be yourself.
Be you.
Being who you
Embrace
are is the biggest example of what and how to behave."
That's what COVID taught me. This whole breakdown, I was like, okay, there's some things I got to fix in within me. There's some cleansing I got to do of folks that I surround myself with.
Amen.
And I was really hesitant to embrace new people because I just was like a raw nerve exposed, and I was in a very, very hard, struggling place. But at least I could pull back and go, all right. So, I mean, for me, I'm coming up with things I want to do exploding into spring and summer of next year, because they just announced the news this morning or yesterday that they think they might have a vaccine by April. They think.
Oh, okay. That's good news.
That's good news, right? That's a little sliver of, oh, thank goodness. And so, I'm looking to launch some things of my own, because we're going to be so excited. Like,
yep.
I feel like I'm just going to hug everybody. I'm probably going to get slapped a lot.
That's one thing I miss those.
I miss
too. And
I know. Malina, we're so hugging. If I have to drive down, are you still down south?
Oh, in south of Ventura. Well, look at south of Ventura. I'm in Los Angeles.
So you're still in LA. Okay. So if I have to drive down and hug you, I will. Because I already told BD Wolf I'm going to
stand outside the house.
I'm going to drive down and hug you. I'm going to drive down and hug Bree Howard Darling. Like, there's all these people I need to drive down and hug. So I miss.
We're the same. Yeah. That's everything. I love people, right? So I know. Trust me.
Oh my God.
I am that person always. Oh, like big hugger. And I forget sometime and confusing people go. And I go, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. But I've been
permission, right? And I don't know if it's a culture thing, because like on the Filipino side, we hug and kiss a lot. On the Filipino side, the white side, never.
Gotcha.
I've seen both. Yeah. No joke. Like my mom was a hugger. My mom's the white one. My mom was a hugger, but not a hugger kisser.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know a lot of my family on my mom's side, but on my dad's side, I swear I was related to half the city. And every time we had a gathering, there was a minimum 70 people in the house of all ages, right? We're we're cooking together, we're singing instruments, we're hugging, we're kissing babies, 90-year-olds.
That sounds like my family. I love it. Yeah, that's
Filipinos. We live to be 120, so I'm not even halfway there. So I know, and it's a cultural thing, right? Mm-hmm. So you're right. We have to ask the permission.
And that's what makes it America. That's what makes us good. Makes us America. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I love it. Yeah. Yep.
My dream is that before I am done on this planet, that we become the united instead of the divided, because we're divided. COVID taught us that. George Floyd's murder taught us that. But I feel the of hope now it's going to change. So cross your fingers.
It will.
Is there anything? I know you kind of talked about you've got these future projects. Is there something specific you want to let us all know, before we wrap?
Honestly, no. I just feel like just working on my new record. There's a lot of big changes. I think that's going to come out. I can't wait to share everything I want to say in January. Oh, but I know this, which I'm super excited about. And also from this I Am Enough, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they actually took some items for me, and they're going to put, it goes on display 11/20. So I'm excited for that. They're going to send me some, pictures and stuff. So finally we got inducted into their memorabilia there.
What? Send me the press release of that, because we want to promote you on that.
So excited. So, and I was from this dang old song.
Congratulations. See, when you follow your heart, right?
Amen.
You do the right thing. Good things happen. And hopefully, this is always my hope for people who might not always get it, in the privacy of their own safe space, they'll have their aha moment. And when they feel strong enough to come out and go, I finally get it. Thank you. It'll happen, whether you're told or they just say it to themselves. Yep. So your work is always touching someone. We don't need the gratification of hearing that from everybody. Just know that it is. Yeah. You're probably touching 3 times more people than have told you.
Amen. Thank you. And they touch me too. That's what gives me the other part I always say is selfish is whenever I feel like, man, I go and look in that, and I put it up there and I said, hey, you guys, on the Enough on my Instagram, click on it and you'll see all of us. Everybody, and they only allow you to do so many, but it's all the pictures.
What do I do?
Like on Instagram, there's the little circles, and then where it says Enough, if you click on it, you're gonna see all the, man, that was so touching. I gathered as many as Instagram would allow me to gather. All the pictures from different people.
Wait a minute, what am I touching? I want to go.
Oh, go to Enough. Let me get my own phone. So on Instagram, like right underneath our little circles right up top. Right?
Oh, where it says the Malina Moye.
That's right. So you still know where it says press, tour, merch, music, video, Enough. You see it underneath where. So click on Enough, the circle with the red writing, and then you'll see all the people. See what I'm saying? Like you see.
Can you? I don't know if you could.
You can hear the song. And there were people. Oh my God, there were Yolanda Adams. Like so many people, organizations that came in that were talking about how they felt. One guy even told me how this affected him so much from high school. He was an older gentleman, but he said that his whole life he never felt like he amounted to anything. And just hearing the song, and hearing that I felt that way too, made him. I was like, man, this is so much. That's it. And then like.
That's amazing. I love it.
It was unbelievable. For me, it's like, so whenever
you're gonna make me cry. I did my face. What are you doing, Malina?
And when you saw there was this one where from When You Get a Chance, Girl Clothing, they end up putting something up. Shondaland ended up doing the post, which is why is it drawn to mind? Shonda Rhimes. So I mean, like all unbelievable. So for me, this was just like
I love it.
A whole new awakening. And then when I saw some kids who were burned. Some people who you've got to take a look. It was just
shout out to Jenna. You shared Jenna Paone. You know she just had a baby.
Too, I see you. Oh, I know.
She just had a baby. Congratulations. You put me on here too? Yes.
Yeah, you are in there. Are you kidding me?
I love you. I told Jenna because I'm close with her family too. Daryl and oh my God, I love her folks. And she just her and her husband just had a baby, but they, you know what? And there I am. Look at you. You put me in there. But Daryl was telling me how it's been hard because they're not allowed to see her yet. Because of COVID. They couldn't go to the hospital because they limit, and they, until her immune system is up. Yeah. And they're on the East Coast. They're Boston, baby. It's freezing with snow right now. And I just said, oh my God, I can't wait to hug, my little niece. And Jenna's like, she can't wait for her Auntie Myki. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to hug that baby so dang tight.
I know, right?
You watch, because next year is going to be the 10th anniversary of our She Rocks, and little V is going to be 10 or a year old.
Yeah.
She's right? And I'm gonna be hugging her. I'm gonna be walking around the steps. I'm like, this is your Auntie Myki taking you everywhere.
I cannot wait. I can't wait. Yeah, I tell Laura, I miss you. I can't wait to see you. And my thing is, I want to host the 10th year or the 11th year. I want to host one of them because it will be so amazing. I think I want
into the universe. You got that, Laura?
Laura, I want to host.
You want to host?
Yeah, I want to host one of these She Rocks Awards. So it'd be cool.
I would love for you to host. That'd be awesome.
I'm like, we got movies. It'd be so much fun. Yeah,
you're gonna have so much to share. You better be like, have your press person throw it our way so we can.
100%. I can't wait.
You're doing so much.
Wait to see all of this. That's all. I mean, I like to always just make sure it all is right there, and then go boom, and then you're gonna say Malina,
and then go. I mean, I was very patient to have you on the show because I tried to book you last month.
Oh no, thank you.
Things happen for a reason.
Amen.
And so, do you mind? I go, no, it's Malina. You let me know when she can work.
I appreciate you. I love you. No, thank you. And then look at all this is like, and we got a whole new 2021 about to happen. So this is awesome. Yeah. You are always worth my wait. So I love you and I appreciate you.
Fangirling, I'm gonna cry. Not even fangirling like fan, but like, whoa. I just love you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're a good person. Always.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we're having this like love fest. I do definitely, please, thank you so much for taking time to be on the Women's International Music Network live, front and center. And her website's right there, malinamoye.com, #IamEnough. Go to that Insta like we just showed you if you want to see it all. And for the She Rock Awards, that's going to be January 22nd. It is going to be virtual. Everyone's free to see it, but we're doing this special VIP package. For the tickets, you'll get shipped to you.
Nice.
One of our legendary swag bags.
Those bags are always so cool. Yeah.
And you'll get a special link so that post show you can come into the Zoom and have a Q&A with the award winners and that special treatment. So that's sherocksawards.com.
Beautiful.
And I believe we tried to get you there, but you're just going to be busy making magic, and we understand.
I love it. I tell you this much. I've always made everyone, so somehow I'm still going to figure out a way to just pop in.
Like
something.
You can pop in.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you can even pop in, let Laura know, because you might be able to just like phone pop in for like 2 minutes.
I would love that. No, I will.
It's viral, right?
Right. That's why I'm saying, like, yeah.
Even if you popped in for like 2 minutes to give the love and lift someone's up, just tell Laura, you know she got you. We got you.
And I love that. Ditto. And I love that. Yeah, we got to stick together. Like, that's how we all got here.
Yeah.
I always say that, so thank you.
Thank you. This is Myki Angeline, your host with the Women's International Music Network, signing off and letting everyone know, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week. And please follow, stalk, love on MalinaMoye.com.